says Accordion Cool, so it must be. Oh yeah, I'm Coach Dave, I think that's my name, and here we go again. Well, we do have a theme today. Now, I know in a past show I did colors, songs with colors. And I'm not sure if I did this one or not, but today's show will all have blue. Blue in the name of the title of the song. So that first one, of course, was Blue Skies. Blue Skies from 1926, written by Irving Berlin. Now, I don't think it came from a show or anything. I think he just decided, well, looked out the window, the skies are blue, I guess I'll write a song called Blue Skies, I guess. I don't know. Not sure how the songwriting folks' minds work. Now, this next song has a very interesting history. It was written in 1934 by the songwriting of Rodgers and Hart. Richard Rodgers wrote the music. Lorenz Hart wrote the words and lyrics to the songs. And they got a request to do a song. There was going to be a movie coming out with Mae West or one of those silent screen folks that were now graduating to the talkies. And they needed a song. So Rodgers and Hart sat down and wrote the song. Well, the project fell through, so the song goes back on the shelf. About a year later, a fellow knocks on the door and says, hey, guys, I hear you got a great little song. I'd like to use it for my production. Only one little thing. Would you mind just writing a different set of lyrics? So no, Lorenz Hart says, no, all right, I'll write some new words. Well, guess what? That project fell through. This happened 2 more times. So the last time a fellow comes in, same thing. No, you got this great song, but Lorenz Hart says, yeah, I know. New lyrics. Says, yeah. Well, that time it took, and it became one of the biggest songs of all time. Everybody who's anybody or anybody who's everybody has recorded Blue Moon. So here we go. Now the chords in that song are what in musicians talk we call a 1-6-2-5. And I did change a couple because you can get 1-6-2-5 to death, drive you crazy. But a lot of songs use that same chord progression. So, yeah, that was Blue Moon. All right, moving along. Okay, I'm going to change the sound a little bit here and drive Austin crazy. So let's see what happens. All right, this song was written in 1914 by a piano player named W.C. Handy. W.C. Handy. And he wrote a song about a city that's called the Gateway to the West, St. Louis, Missouri. Nice little city. We were there once. And it's the St. Louis Blues. So I'm going to have the bass in the left hand, the left-hand bass, I'll get it right, piano bass on the right. So this will be all piano. So let's see what we can do with, St. Louis Blues. St. Louis Blues. And of course, W.C. Handy was a piano player, which is why I figured, well, we'll do the all piano on that, just that one song. We'll get back to normal here now. Now, this song was written by a fellow named Kenny Dorham. Who? Kenny Dorham. Kenny Dorham was a jazz saxophone player back in the 60s, and he took a little trip to Rio de Janeiro at about the time that the big bossa nova craze was hitting. And listening to that music inspired him to write a song. The song is called Blue Bossa. Blue Bossa. And it's a simple, fairly simple little tune. Watch, I'll screw it all up. Fairly simple little tune, and seems to be kind of a favorite with piano players. So he recorded, well, he didn't record, somebody else recorded around 1963. So here's a little Blue Bossa. Blue bossa. I don't. Maybe there wasn't enough room on the paper to write blue bossa nova, but you get the idea. Well, this next tune was written by my favorite band leader, or should I say my favorite band? He just happened to be the band leader. Yeah, it's Duke Ellington band leader. Again, another simple song. It's just a blues song. And it's called the C Jam Blues. There's only 2 notes in the whole song, so you got to really try to get creative with the C Jam Blues. And of course, C refers to the key of C. Now, Corey Pesatoro, who has been on this show several times, we've played this song together. Corey does it in B flat. I don't know, is it now the B flat blues? B flat jam? Well, we're going to do it in C. Okay, so let's see what we get. C Jam Blues in C. Yeah, how about that? Wow. Sorry, Corey. Oh, he's not here. All right, well, I thought because a lot of these songs are pretty short that we might have a little extra time, and I actually, I actually prepared for a little extra. Oh my goodness, I'm just losing it, I guess. This next song is called Blue Spanish Eyes. Now, if you are of Italian descent, you may listen to this and say, wait a minute, that's Moon Over Naples. Well, yes, it is. I think they stole the melody of Moon Over Naples for Blue Spanish Eyes, and a fellow named Engelbert Humperdinck. Engelbert Humperdinck. Boy, say that fast 5 times. 1965 had the big hit on Blue Spanish Eyes or Moon Over Naples. We're not singing it, so, put your own spin on it. Here we go. Blue Spanish Eyes. Blue Spanish. Well, we're getting down towards the end of our time, and this last tune, I enjoy playing this tune. It's a nice, really upbeat tempo. It's again one of these older tunes from the 20s, 1925, and I don't even know who wrote it. It just all of a sudden was there. I guess. Well, it's called Bye Bye Blues, so maybe it was a fellow that had the blues, and he was saying, and he didn't want people to. Oh, I don't know. But little tune, Bye Bye Blues, and I enjoy playing this song. So watch, I'll probably screw it up. So here we go. See you later. See you later. I did forget to mention on this tune, you may have all heard of or even remember Les Paul, the great guitar player. And his wife was Mary Ford. She was a vocalist. And Les Paul was kind of like the pioneer and the innovator of what we call layering. Sometimes you'll hear me do it on this. You play like on here it's like an accordion sound and an orchestra sound, like vibes or something, together at the same time, and that's called layering. So Les Paul had this bright idea. Okay, so he laid down what's what they call a recording. He laid down the guitar track, and then he had Mary Ford sing the song, and then he went back and he had a second track for Mary Ford, and she sang a harmony to the song. And he would do this 2, 3, 4 times. So by the time the whole thing was finished, it sounded like Les Paul and 4 Mary Fords. You know, it was like she had her own little quartet there. And this was one of the songs that they had a big hit on by doing that. So I guess we can thank Les Paul for all, a lot of the things that we do today. Well, that is our show for today. Hope you enjoyed our little blues rendition. Actually, well, where we're located, if you look at a map of the United States, a few people in New Zealand or Australia, if you wonder, the little hook right up in the corner, well, that's the area we're in. And I want to tell you, it's been raining for what seems like months around here. So that's why I figured, hey, Blue Skies, that was a good tune. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go out with Blue Skies. So again, thank you all for watching, listening, tuning in. And of course, the big guy behind the glass, Austin Ricketts, he makes me look good. He makes me look good, if that's possible. But okay, I'm gonna go out with Bye Bye Blues instead of the last song. Okay? No, not Bye Bye Blues. Blue Skies. I get my blues on there. All right, here we go.